My name is Dani Brand, and I'm the former editorial director of LIM's school magazine, The Lexington Line. Today, we're here with some of the students and directors for our annual fashion show, which is going to be virtual this year. Here we have Grace Brandt, the director of the 2020 show. So hers sadly never got to happen, but she's working on 2021's as well. We have Lisa Hallberg, the director of the 2021 show. We have Ashley Diaz, the marketing co-director. We have Emily Abbate and Rebecca Riggio, beauty directors. And we have Tamia Anderson, the styling director. We have Gemma Chambers, the production director, and we have Kaela Trani, the visual club director. All of these students have put so much hard work into this show, as we can all imagine. So I'll be asking them some questions about the upcoming show, considering that this year it will be virtual. Personally, I attended the incoming students fashion show when I decided to come to LIM 4 years ago, and it was a truly spectacular ordeal. So when I heard that this year's show was going to be virtual, I felt compelled to ask more about it with the very people who are making it happen. Lisa, given that LIM's student-run fashion show will be entirely virtual this year, how is that going to work?
I just think it's a little different. I mean, because you're not with everyone else, in a sense, you're not, with your girlfriends. I mean, you could be, in a sense, if you're home together watching at the same time, but, you're around a huge crowd in the audience and everyone kind of has the same passion, right, for fashion. Mm-hmm. So it's that engaging part where we're striving for, and, that's the goal, is to make it seem like, you're at this extravagant fashion show.
So it's personal, but it's also...
Yeah, it's like your personal show.
I like that a lot. Mm-hmm. So Tamia, how have the looks for this year's show been generated? Are apparel and accessories being sourced in the usual way?
So this year is a little bit different. Normally, our normal process is basically that we make mood boards and then we kind of go from there. So we get our color palette, our inspiration. We find designers that we're really inspired by. Then we reach out to them if possible. A lot of local designers in NYC, or, some students have networked in their time at LIM, since that's a strong thing in the school. That's something they're really trying to teach us how to do. So we try to take advantage of that. But this year was a little different with virtual, because we had to virtually contact our designers. So this year it was more of, we still made our mood boards, but then after that we were actually able to do a lot more, because we were able to go outside of that NYC area. I mean, we have designers from all over America, and the way it works this year is, instead of pulling, we kind of got to look at all of their collections and get a front and back image of them, and then we're going to scan them and create them virtually. So it was a little different, but it was honestly an opportunity.
In terms of the show, how do you personally style the models?
What we do is we have a model casting call, and then from there we kind of see like what we're going for. This year's show honestly is very broad and very versatile, because it is inspired by drag. It's inspired by the LGBTQ plus community. So, we're kind of going a little bit more androgynous, meaning that, a male or a woman could really wear whatever and represent it however. So we see our theme, and then we go from there, we do our research and we get our vision, and then pull clothes based on that.
As for a follow-up for that, but this I want to open up to also Gemma and Emily and Rebecca. Tamia touched on the unforeseen advantage of being able to pull from designers outside of New York City, as well as within New York City. In terms of production and beauty, do you think that the virtual space opened up unforeseen advantages for your side of the production as well?
I definitely think that being virtual opened up the creative boundaries for beauty, because in the past we've kind of had to work with the fact that some models would be walking in one scene as well as another. So we had to make sure the makeup looks were the same in both, or could be easily changed very quickly. Whereas now we can kind of cater the looks to each specific model and make them different for every scene, as well as with hair, since it's all being done virtually, we can change the color, we can kind of make it very extravagant and do amazing things with it, whereas in the past we kind of had to keep things a little more simple.
In terms of production, I think this year we focused on how we could take advantage of that, of course, because normally in the past we have limitations. You just have your plain runway stage, and I think there's a lot more that we've been able to do to kind of create that visual space with like each individual scenes and categories, and there's just more that we can do in terms of visual effects and lighting, and I think we kind of played on that and have been able to kind of create the scenes to create that ballroom feel and capture that energy.
Oh, ballroom feel. I'm looking forward to seeing that. What sort of digital tools and technology are being used to produce and present this year's show?
This year, what we did is we partnered actually with this company called Big Thinks. And so they're kind of handling all of the technical putting together of the show and like digitally creating it. But what we did is we kind of made mood boards and 3D renderings of what we wanted each of the sets for all of the categories to look like. And then for the models, we did like body scanning, and then they're going to scan in like makeup, looks, and add in hair and all the styling stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool. I know a lot of the major fashion houses are pulling off crazy stunts like that too with their shows. So it's nice to see that our own students are doing the same kind of thing. Speaking of prep work, Grace, since you were involved in the 2020 show's production before it obviously got shut down because of the pandemic, every event like this requires an immense amount of prep work and planning to pull it off. Would you say that this one requires more or less than last year's?
I would say they definitely both require a lot, but this year it's something that none of us really have experience with. It's hard enough to plan an in-person fashion show. Like it was a lot, but doing it all online, it's something totally different. It's new experience for like all of us involved, I think. So it's a lot of planning, and definitely like less planning in terms of like, we don't have to figure out, oh, well, where do the seats need to go? How many do we need? How much room do we have in the venue? What is our VIP party going to be like? That has transitioned into how are we going to make a VIP experience when we don't have like a VIP party beforehand? How are we going to make this, like Lisa said, engaging, make this feel like you're at a fashion show and are experiencing this? We're having to learn a lot of new skills and things that are going to be able to serve us in the future, because this seems like the path that we're going to have to go down for events like this for the next few years probably. So it's interesting to see how they come together, how the planning from last year can work into what we need this year, and how we expanded on it.
And you and Lisa have both mentioned the feeling of being at the shows together, like with everybody surrounded by passion and creativity and all of these things. And given that sense and how obviously it's very crucial to a runway show, but also like a team, like how have you guys been able to stay collaborative and keep like an open line of communication without getting fatigued, I guess?
I think it's true when people say you need to over communicate and over communicate on top of that over communication, because Grace is what, 3 hours behind? I'm in DC. You got Kaela in New Jersey. You got Gemma, Emily, Rebecca in New York. You know what I mean? So we just over communicate. Our teams are just all over the world. But again, we come together. We want to make this a great show.
Kind of feels like a family then.
Yeah, in a sense.
That's good. Given that this is a virtual show that really anyone who can stream content can attend, how has that shaped your approach to marketing the show this year?
Basically, in marketing wise, for social media, we had to think of people and students that aren't in New York. We just had to market outside of New York. There's no barriers now. It's not just people in New York. It's a virtual event. Anybody can come, anybody can attend. And that's also one of the reasons why it's free to virtually have this experience.
So moving on past that, but kind of in that same vein, Lisa and Kaela, I want to know from the director's perspective, but then also the visual club's perspective, what the audience experience is going to be like. And I have a personal interest in this.
it has to be more engaging than normal, because obviously it is online, so you don't want to lose the interest, as Lisa was saying before. Like, you don't want people to like look away from the screen or be bored because they're sitting behind a computer. So from the visual standpoint, we really had to take what production gave us and make it even better, more engaging, as out of the box as we could, in order to keep people engaged and interested in what we have to show them. So it was definitely challenging in the way that if it was a normal fashion show, the thing you worry about in visuals is like the graphic backgrounds and the lighting, but this time we had to worry about whole scenes, whole settings. Will there be an audience in this one? Sounds, lights, how the model will interact with the actual environment around them. So it was challenging in the sense that like we really have to make sure that it's engaging.
And this is a high energy show. So this is about grabbing your girlfriends, popcorn, dress up to the nines. Like, this is not something that you want to like go in your PJs. You know, at a regular show, you're going to dress to the nines. So still keeping that, okay, I'm going to get ready at 5 because, you know, we take forever to get ready. Makeup all done, hair up, DJ popping. Yes, mocktail, cocktail left and right. Like, get in your dorm, have a watch party, and we're just going to kick it.
Even though we can't have this in-person experience, that obviously the energy kind of makes it what it is, and it's something that we all love. And I'm sure something that drew many of us to the college and kind of was our final decision in coming here. The biggest part of that is we were admiring student work and seeing what LIM students created so that we knew what we were getting ourselves into when we go to college. And that's still a factor because we created this all together.
Seeing this theme develop from where it was, like really at like this point last year was like exactly when we found out it wasn't going to happen. So seeing how a different platform can totally just really enhance the experience. Like, I think we're really going to put on a great show, and I think it would have been great last year too, but I'm really excited to see all of our work to come together and see what we've created under very unusual circumstances. And I think it's awesome that we like are putting together a virtual fashion show, and we're all learning like a whole new set of skills that is going to be able to serve us now and when we graduate.
I also worked on the show last year, and to see how we were all kind of able to bounce back and collect ourselves and work on a virtual show without having any experience, I think is amazing. I also think that having these skills is going to put us all ahead of a lot of people, and being able to say that this is something we worked on during a time where everything was uncertain and where we didn't really know what was going to happen, for us to be able to come together and do this and actually create a successful show is very amazing to me.
The whole reason I really even came to LIM was the fashion show. I want to be a fashion show producer and do visuals for stuff like that. So this was not what I had envisioned my career looking like, but seeing the uncertain times we're in now, this kind of looks like the future of fashion. So it's kind of nice that I kind of came into this with no experience, and then this is the experience that I'm building off of, because I have a feeling that this is going to be a lot of what the future looks like. So I kind of got a head start in that way, where it's like you're learning how to work through an industry that is constantly changing.
We've all worked in events, fashion shows, and things of that nature. So it's kind of like when you think you have a grasp, I mean, there's still, this has taught me especially, there's still so much to learn. And, you know, LIM really has given us this platform of like, we're doing our first ever virtual fashion show. I don't know any other school that is doing this, that is providing us this opportunity to, we're still gonna do this show. It's just gonna be virtual. You know what I mean? That type of mindset. We're still gonna do the show. We're gonna have to figure it out. And so just giving us this opportunity, I mean, it's amazing.
Just kind of going off what Lisa said, as someone that also worked on the show last year, it's kind of been like a crazy experience, but also we are very thankful that LIM gave us this opportunity, because there was so much work put into it. We were at this very point where we realized that this wasn't going to happen anymore. And as disappointing as that was, being able to do it now virtually has opened up so many doors and let us revisit ideas that we couldn't have done in person. There's many makeup looks we couldn't have done in person. There's designers that we couldn't have met with.
Like Lisa said, I don't know any other school that's doing this. It's just a really great opportunity. And yeah, I'm thankful that we were able to stay with this theme and develop it, because it's something that I think we're all really passionate about and really excited to share with everyone.
I want to thank you guys for taking the time to meet with me. You women are an embodiment of what LIM stands for, which is hardworking, innovative, creative creators. And you should all be very proud of yourself. I am very excited to see this show, especially the way Lisa was talking about it. I'm already planning out my drink menu. So I just want to say thank you, not only for meeting with me, but also for all of your continued hard work and dexterity through this time.